land of pixels and streams. There's a jolly figure, or so it seems, with a belly round and a heart so grand. He's the YouTube grifter, the joy of the land. Oh, he's as fast as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. He's got a knack for stories, both wild and true. With a twinkle in his eye, he'll entertain you. From baking fails to epic wins, he's the gift that keeps on giving. Let the fun begin. Oh, he's as fat as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. He's got around your screens, and don't be shy. He's got a tale to tell and a pie in the sky. With every click and every view, he's spreading holiday spirit just for you. Oh, he's as fat as Santa, but he comes all year, bringing laughter, joy, and a bit of cheer. Not just once in December, but every single day. Our YouTube grifter in his own special way. So here's to the grifter, our digital friend. May his joy and laughter never end. With a ho, 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 and a hearty cheer. Merry Christmas to all, and a Happy New Year.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome all, wherever you are, whoever you are, what if any you might be. And finally, it succeeded Jemima to ruin my night in front of the television because she found a link to the trial that we have been talking about. This is Vermont versus Joseph Ferlazzo. Something Italian. It's a story about a couple who lived in a van, not down by the river. Well, they were trying to live in a van. They were having their 1-year anniversary, and apparently he pew-pewed her. And then he made a big problem a little bit smaller and left the pieces in the van. He allegedly admitted this to the police, and we are still having a trial because he claims self-defense. We are a little behind. Well, I'm a bit behind, but we will catch up. And I already think that this man is innocent because apparently she was nagging. So, and Kelly, thank you so much for the 4 corner kisses this morning. Sadly, my phone didn't notify me when you sent them to me, but thank you so much for the support. And Brandon, thank you again. You were way, way, way too kind last night. And hey, Silver Fox. Lovely hard cold. Oh my. Yeah, well, when you hear the defense's opening statement, you will agree she might have brought it on by herself. It's some women can't live with them, can't chop them into pieces and leave them in a van. What are you to do about them? But let's hear the facts of the matter. We don't have the full opening statements because the live feed started a bit late. The only other one we could find was on Smart TV's YouTube channel, and I can't access that one. Oh, there she is. Thank you so much, Kelly, for the corner kisses this morning. Sorry, my phone didn't notify me while I was live, but thank you so much, all 4 of them. Yep. These naggy women. Ugh. Hey, Calamity Jane. 2 a.m. East Coast. Well, the good thing is you have a perfect time zone for my morning shows on Sundays Tuesdays and Thursdays. Well, in your case, it'll be Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, just like me.
And he puts them in a plastic grocery bag. And he eventually throws those things away somewhere at a gas station. You'll see the numerous text messages that Mr. Ferlazzo sends to Emily over Emily's phone over the weekend. The same phone that he turned off and put in a bag and threw away. From Saturday at 1 o'clock until Monday at 10:30 in the morning, he sends 16 text messages to her phone, asking where she is, asking her to come back, getting angry with her for not answering his calls or his text, and eventually telling her that he doesn't deserve this shit. You'll hear testimony.
Oh, congratulations. I will be going to My Little Prince on Sunday. That's why tomorrow won't be a stab your day. Tomorrow will be a baker day. I'll be baking. I'll put the link in if anyone wants to join me and talk while I'm baking. But I'll be baking tomorrow because my little baby daughter needs some snacks while she's breastfeeding. So, of course, Daddy is going to make some easy things for her to heat and eat.
From the medical examiner about how Emily's body was dismembered after she was killed with a serrated tool like a handsaw. You'll also hear that Emily's body was stabbed 18 times after she was killed. 1 stab to her chest, hitting her heart, 8 stabs to her abdomen, 9 stabs to her back. The medical examiner will tell you that these were stab wounds, not slicing wounds. And you'll hear Mr. Ferlazzo admit to cutting up Emily's body with a saw, putting it in garbage bags, and how he intended to bring her body into the woods and discard it. You'll hear how he greets his sister on Saturday morning after killing Emily with a text and says, "I just made some coffee. I can bring you some." He takes a shower at her Airbnb. They go to breakfast. When his sister asks where Emily is, he says she's sleeping. They have breakfast, he eats, he drinks a mimosa.
Good morning, Monsieur Bad Duck, and thank you for the super chats.
They make plans to go to St. Albans, where another friend of his lives. He gives his sister a tattoo. They go out to dinner that night in St. Albans. On Sunday, he meets his sister for brunch here in Burlington. They hang out. He goes back to his friend's house in St. Albans, hangs out at a bonfire. You will hear testimony from an individual who was at that bonfire, an off-duty police officer, who will say that Mr. Ferlazzo was acting like a normal person and taking hits off a marijuana bomb at the bonfire. During that bonfire, he doesn't say anything to any of his friends or this off-duty police officer about what happened, or that he felt he had no other option but to kill Emily, or that he made a horrible mistake. The evidence will show that he began executing his plan to get rid of Emily's body. He cuts her up using a saw. He puts her body in trash bags.
No, he went to a bonfire after. No, this one doesn't involve. This involves a van, a saw, a knife, and a pew-pew. You know, the good old things. But again, she might have been annoying in a period, and Jamie and I have agreed that she probably deserved it.
The evidence will show that in order to bring those trash bags into the woods to discard them, he needed to go to New Hampshire and get his Jeep. He drove his motorcycle that was stored at his friend's house in St. Albans 3 hours to his in-laws' house in New Hampshire where his Jeep was. When they ask him, "Where's Emily?" he says, "We got into a fight and she left on Saturday." Doesn't know where she is. His in-laws then report Emily missing. When the police call to speak to Mr. Ferlazzo about his missing wife, Mr. Ferlazzo tells the trooper the made-up story about how Emily went missing on Saturday, somewhere in Bolton. And the police ask him where his van is. Mr. Ferlazzo lies to the police and tells them that the van's not running well and that it is at an auto shop. He tells them that that auto shop is in Virgins. The evidence will show that this is when Mr. Ferlazzo's cover-up starts unraveling. The evidence will show that before Mr. Ferlazzo left his in-laws' home in St. Albans, they convinced him to turn on location sharing services on his phone. He started driving from New Hampshire back to Vermont around 8:15 on Monday night. On the way, he texts a friend who lives in Enosburg and says that he's going to be showing up at his house on Monday night at 11:20. While Mr. Ferlazzo is driving from New Hampshire to Vermont, police learn that the van is not in Virgins, and they locate the van in St. Albans. And they post a couple of troopers outside of the van. Mr. Ferlazzo eventually arrives at his friend's house in Enosburg. They hop in his friend's car because Mr. Ferlazzo has said, I need a ride to go get my van. As they're driving and getting close to where the van is parked at his friend's house in St. Albans, they start to see troopers. Mr. Ferlazzo tells his friend to turn around. His friend confronts him about what's going on, asking him if those troopers are for him. Mr. Ferlazzo tells his friend the police are looking for Emily, that she's in the van, that she's not alive, and that he shot her. When his friend attempts to kick him out of his car, Mr. Ferlazzo starts panicking, acting like he's going to jump out of.
He will testify in this case. Reindeer, you will hear all of it during the defense opening statements. She brought it on.
The car, asks his friend to shoot him, and says he can't go to prison. His friend calls 911 as Mr. Ferlazzo walks off into the woods. You'll hear about how after that 911 call, the police start looking for Mr. Ferlazzo. And you'll hear that about 14 hours later, a detective from the Vermont State Police was at the Maple Fields in St. Albans. You'll hear about her seeing Mr. Ferlazzo getting a drink out of the cooler at the Maple Fields. And you'll hear about Mr. Ferlazzo being approached by the troopers. And that trooper will describe that Mr. Ferlazzo appeared deflated and looked like he had given up. She brought him back to the station, and he sat down with detectives for an interview. 42 seconds into the interview, he confesses to shooting Emily. You will hear that confession, and you will see how detailed, thoughtful, and thorough his conversation is. He has time to think about what he's going to say. He's given numerous breaks. He has time to contemplate. He has time to change his story or correct inaccuracies. At no point during his statement will you ever hear him say that he thought Emily was going to kill him, hurt him, or that she posed any threat to him. In fact, at numerous points during his statement, you will hear him talk about how angry he was with her and how he wanted to stop her and how he made a decision. As you're taking in all of the evidence over the next couple of days, I want you to pay close attention to what you hear and also what you don't hear. You won't hear or see any evidence that indicates that this was a lawful or justified killing. You won't see any evidence that indicates that Emily posed a threat to him. You won't see any evidence that indicates that Mr. Ferlazzo couldn't make decisions, couldn't think straight, couldn't form intent to kill. In fact, you'll hear the opposite. After all the evidence is presented, Judge Pack will read you the law. You'll read instructions on the essential elements of the offense and provide definitions of those legal terms. You will be asked to decide whether the state has met its burden of proving these essential elements beyond a reasonable doubt, and we are confident that we can and will meet that burden. The state will meet its burden and show beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Ferlazzo was the person who committed this offense, that Mr. Ferlazzo caused the death of his wife, Emily Ferlazzo, that Mr. Ferlazzo's killing of Emily was unlawful, meaning there was no legal justification for it, that he intended to kill Emily, meaning it wasn't a mistake, it wasn't an accident, that he acted willfully, that he acted deliberately, and that he acted with premeditation. And we believe that this evidence will prove beyond a reasonable doubt to every single one of you serving on this jury that Mr. Ferlazzo is guilty of the unlawful, intentional, willful, deliberate, and premeditated killing of Emily. And we will be asking you to return a verdict of guilty. Thank you.
Well, based on that opening statement, which will be destroyed completely by the defense in 2 seconds, it doesn't look that good. He admits to his friend he did it. He admits to the police he did it. They have him on tape. They have the remains of her in the van. But there was an explanation for all of it. Just
wait.
Yeah. I know, Jamie, you Vermonters have that, oh, we stick together. It's always the men's fault. But we men must stick together when stuff like this happens. So those 12% men supporters I have, hashtag me3.
Ms. James, you wish to make this statement?
Yes, Judge, I do. Thank you. That's it. You're dead. That's it. You're dead. That's what Joseph Ferlazzo now remembers hearing Emily say to him.
Now remembers?
And then seeing her start to pull her pistol out from under her pillow, because these are people who slept with their guns under their pillows. He was afraid for his life, believed she was going to shoot and kill him. That's it. You're dead, she said to him.
Boom.
I mean,
Case over. Self-defense.
case over. Yeah.
So happy Christmas. See you all in the new year. This case is closed. She did it.
She said, "You're dead."
You're dead.
And he's like, "But I had to, dismember her afterwards too, because that makes a lot of sense."
Well, Jamie, have you ever moved a body around? It's easier if you can compact it into smaller pieces. There's a lot of logic that you don't get in this. It's
I'm not understanding at all, I guess.
yeah, I'll
That's not how I do
mansplain it.
things.
I'll mansplain it to you in a bit because everything so far is reasonable.
Okay.
This weekend, prior to this weekend, they had been living with her parents in New Hampshire for about a month.
You can't,
You can't hear me.
Yeah.
I apologize.
if you want to put the,
I'll just move this up. Yeah. They've been refitting.
I like this. Use the microphone. And she was told to do it. And who's the actor she looks like?
A camper to turn it into a residence.
idea.
They actually had a name for it, Roaming Rosie. You'll hear him testify. And it was something they planned to go cross-country up and down the East Coast.
It's always these van people, isn't it?
Trip to Vermont to celebrate their 1-year anniversary and to spend time with his sister Nikki, who he hadn't seen in years. His sister rented an Airbnb in Bolton, and they parked their camper in the parking lot of the Airbnb in
She was just
Bolton.
told to use the mic and she doesn't do it.
Drive up here from New Hampshire was great. They were both in a good mood. Mr.
Thank you so much, Priscilla Stevenson, for becoming a member.
Ferlazzo, Joseph,
Welcome.
forward to spending time with his sister, and Emily seemed to be in a good mood. He will tell you the minute they parked, it was like a switch flipped, and she started complaining. F this, F you, F your family, I don't want to be here, I'm going to destroy your life. And that just went on and on and on.
Fellas, you know that? Oh, we're going home to your mom this weekend. Oh, that's gonna be nice. And then you park outside the house. Again, a lot of reasonable doubt here.
I can't wait to hear this story. Like from his own mouth.
You can't wait to hear this innocent man defend him against
Yes.
the state.
That was late in the afternoon, I
Yes.
believe, on the Friday the 16th. Mr. Ferlazzo did contact his sister. They made arrangements to meet. He did meet with his sister and her boyfriend. Emily was quiet. And when they got back to the camper from seeing his sister, she started again. He put on some he lit some candles because there was, he wanted to have candlelight. She didn't like it. Put those candles out. He did. She grabbed the big Yankee candle and started hitting him with it. Head, neck, shoulders, torso. He took the candle from her, but that didn't stop her. She continued kicking him, punching him all over his body. He will tell you he grabbed her arms and say, hey, you stay in your space, I'll stay in mine. This is
Special case, probably because I only gave it 10 minutes from a set up the stream. We were looking for a stream that we could stream off of. That's why you should follow the Discord, because you'll get live notifications on the Discord almost every time. Yeah, the big Yankee candle. It's I'm just saying, so far there's been more than enough reasonable doubt in this case. I think the jury should just stand up and say, was it that time of the month? And see you later.
this is not acceptable. And he took his dog Remy out for a walk. He came back, she was lying down in bed. And you will see pictures of their camper. It's really small. The way the bed is arranged is that it's flush against the back of the camper. His side of the bed was against the back of the camper. Her side was closer to the inside of the camper. In order to get into his side of the bed, he had to climb across her. So he comes back in and she's still grumbling and mumbling and I don't want to do this, F you all over the place. And he starts climbing across her to get into bed. As he does, so she's lying on her stomach, face to the left, right arm under her pillow. She takes her elbow and smashes it into his groin. She does say something like, what the fuck? Smashes her elbow into his groin. He picks up the pillow and throws it on her head. That's when she says, that's it, you're dead. Starts to raise up, starts to pull out the gun. He, of course, has his gun in his hand. That's what these two people did. They believed they needed to sleep with their guns for self-protection. He already had his Glock in his hand. He saw her hand start to move out from under the pillow, and he shot her twice and killed her. That's not in dispute. What happened is not in dispute. It's why it happened. After he shot her, he really was in a state of panic and shock. he will tell you he loved his wife. This is hardly something that on the weekend they were celebrating their anniversary, he planned or intended or wanted. He did not want this. You will hear how he sat by her bedside, just in panic and not knowing what to do. He did.
I actually saw a thing because there's so many people doing that van life vlogging. It's a big thing on YouTube's and stuff like that, and there's so many horrible stories about, especially because they go. A lot of them think, "Oh, I'm going to buy a van in Europe and start driving around," and they get attacked at night. And in Europe, it's normal for. It's probably the same in the US, but that if you stay at certain spots, that you make very sure that no one can gas your car and stuff like that, because they'll rob you. They'll make you unconscious and then rob you, and they don't give two f's about what they do to you. It's a really big problem with a lot of these van people. And then try and cram two people into a van and stay there. Yeah, it's fun for a weekend if you can go outside all the time and just sleep in a van, but it'll get old really fast, in my opinion.
He'd go to, just as the state told you, he went to meet his sister for breakfast. He carried on for the rest of the weekend as normally as he could. And he did a pretty good job of it, in that he lied repeatedly, and he will admit that. He lied to everyone he came in contact with about what happened to Emily. His explanations are varied. He says, I was sleep deprived, I was intoxicated, I was in shock. He will tell you that even now, his memory of what happened is fragmented, coming to him in bits and pieces. It is true that he told the police nothing about what I've just described to you, and that it was weeks later that it began coming back to him in the form of nightmares, that he could see her pulling the gun out to shoot him. You, as finders of fact, will have to decide what you think is true and what isn't true. But there's not much that's in dispute about what happened. He will explain to you the reasons for the stab wounds and the dismemberment.
Yeah, she's
wait.
really not
But the
going to go
truth
into that
is
part
that
of it.
he himself has.
Have you met the police? It's not like they're going to listen to a story like this and say, "Oh, we understand, buddy. We're married." They're probably going to blame him. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's doing her job. That's there's a reason she doesn't. She says he'll talk about that because she couldn't say that with a straight face.
He's trying to put all the pieces together. And what he knows for sure is that he shot her in self-defense because he believed at the time that she was going to kill him. And it will be up to you. Let me just make sure I didn't forget anything before I ask you to find not guilty. Yeah. Yep.
What's going on?
Ms. George is getting the witness.
Well, the good thing about starting late is we can do this. Dear Diary, Jamie is married to Baker longer than his real wife. Pobrecita cu aguante.
What is that?
I don't speak Spanish.
Yes, you do. You spoke it very fluently. I heard that.
I can say orale, sangre por sangre, and give me that chunk chunk. That's about all I can say in Spanish.
Iris
And
teaches us a lot around here. So
thank you, Tappy Whisper, for a super sticker of a little. What the heck is that? Is that a rhino? No, that's the one with the horn.
a hippo.
A hippo. In Denmark, it's a river horse.
A river horse? Oh,
Yeah,
it's so cute.
yeah. One of the worst animals in Africa, kills a ton of people every year.
Oh yeah,
They
they're
are mean bastards. They're
violent.
worse than
Yeah.
gators.
And if they got babies around, you better run for the hills.
Yeah, and you can't outrun them. They can run really fast.
Oh yeah.
So, Probetia ku aguante. Pour her what patience. Jamie does the good old mom on vacation. She just yells louder.
I just say it, yeah, louder, or Google Translate. Come on.
Yeah, flodhest. A river horse. Oh, she has her own little seat with her. That's nice. Oh, she has a support animal. That's why.
Aw.
You solemnly affirm that the evidence you shall give relative to the cause now under consideration shall be the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and everything the penalty of perjury.
Here's George.
Thank you, Judge. Hello, Ms. Bass. Can you hear me okay?
No.
Try to
Yeah.
keep your voice up as much as possible. Speak directly into it. Okay. Okay, so that everybody in the back can hear you, okay? The jury can hear you. Okay. You start by just telling us what your name is
My name is Adrienne Bass,
and how do you spell your last name?
B-A-S-S.
Okay. And do you know David Bass?
Yes,
Okay, who is David Bass?
he's my husband.
Okay. And how long have you been married?
5 years.
Okay. Where did you reside in October of 2021?
In 185 Bay Hill Road in Northfield, New Hampshire.
Okay. And you resided there with David?
Yes,
Did you reside there with anyone else?
yes.
Who else did you reside there with?
My
That was
son,
actually funny.
Matthew, and daughter Emily, as well as Mr. Ferlazzo.
When,
Yeah, I can't see. Well, they don't have the witnesses in order, but other than that, with the facts in the case, I know I make fun of it that it's her own fault because she hit him with a candle. If it was one of those Virgin Mary candles, maybe she deserved it. But how much time do we need?
was your daughter Emily born?
July 25th, 1999.
Okay. And when did Emily marry Joseph Ferlazzo?
October 10th, 2020.
Knee pain? Where's knee pain?
How long had they been dating when they got married?
Only a few months.
There you go, Baker.
At the time that they got married, had you met Mr. Ferlazzo?
Yes.
How many times?
They do it the wrong way.
Uh,
You get them pregnant within the
only
first few months,
Remember one time,
and then you get married later.
but it may have been another time.
And the mom only met him one time.
So did you know him well when they got married?
No.
But she's the mom-in-law. Who wants to meet them?
When did they move in with you in Northfield, New Hampshire?
So Emily had moved back in April of 2021. She made that her legal address again. And then he moved in September 13th, 2021.
Okay. So Emily moved back in April. Where was Mr. Ferlazzo residing when she moved back in with you?
I'm not entirely sure. if he was still in their Essex Junction apartment or if he was on the Lang's property.
Okay. Do you know the Langs?
No, Emily Bass,
Do you know where they live?
Yes.
Where do they live?
Big Emily E. Baker.
Judge, can I interrupt for just a second and approach, please?
Is going to plead guilty now?
Your first name.
Don't jinx it, Baker.
Adrienne. That's a lot louder.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Oh, it's just to get. Don't breathe into the mic.
Draw your attention to October 15th, 2021.
Okay.
Did you see Emily and Joseph on that day?
Yes.
And what do you recall about your interaction?
We can't hear her, and then we can't hear the prosecutor because now we can only hear her breathing. Oh, you are getting a new hip. I wasn't. I haven't had a new hip. My mom did.
With them that day.
They were preparing to go on a trip to Bolton Valley, Vermont. And
Let me ask you a trip was?
yes,
What?
I don't know why it won't go through because it's not on my. I can't see it.
Okay. I think her breathing is picking up louder than the words she's saying. It's not easy,
okay.
but we'll
It
keep going.
actually is quite easy.
So
I do
think
it
because
every
it's
day.
a little louder now, you don't get quite so close.
Okay.
Okay. They're planning on going to a trip to Vermont.
Yes.
And what was the purpose of that trip?
The purpose was twofold. One was Emily was excited to meet her sister-in-law, Nikki. She hadn't met her yet. And the other was to celebrate their 1-year wedding anniversary.
Do you know how long they plan to stay in Vermont?
Until Monday.
And did they intend on coming back to New Hampshire on Monday?
Yes.
Did you see them leave?
No.
Okay. Did Emily seem excited to leave? To go on the trip?
She was excited to see her sister-in-law, but it seemed to be taking longer to get the bus ready. So she seemed, I don't know how to describe it. She wasn't upset, but sort of just, what's going on? When are we going?
Okay.
So,
Anxious to go?
yeah.
Okay. Did you speak to Emily once they had left?
Through Messenger.
Okay. Do you recall when the last time was that you heard from her?
It was about around 7:45 that night.
Okay. And that was through Messenger?
Yes.
Messenger. Did you speak to Joseph once they had left?
No.
So you didn't speak to Emily or hear from Emily after 7:45 or 8 on Friday night?
Correct.
And did you hear from Emily at all on Saturday, the 16th?
No.
Did you hear from Joseph at all on Saturday, the 16th?
No.
Did you speak with Emily at all on Sunday, October 17th?
No.
Did you hear from Mr. Ferlazzo at all on Sundays?
This is as live as it can get, except we are half an hour behind. So it's fresh from the press.
17th.
Fresh from the press.
Did you speak to Emily on Monday, the 18th?
No.
Did you hear from Mr. Ferlazzo on Monday, the 18th?
Yes.
Did he call you from Vermont?
No.
How did you happen to hear from him on Monday
He walked into our house
in New Hampshire?
in New Hampshire.
Do you recall when?
It was around 6 p.m.
Okay. And was Emily with him?
No.
Did you ask him where Emily was?
Yes.
What explanation did he give you about why Emily wasn't with him?
That they had an argument, and she got out of the bus on Route 2. He drove away to a gas station to let her cool off, and then he came back. She was gone. He had then said that she had mentioned something about getting an Uber, so he thought that's what she did.
Okay. Did he tell you when this happened?
Saturday afternoon.
Did he tell you where the van or
No, they met each other in. She moved back home to her parents in 2021. So I think it's 2000 and is it 22 or 23? It happened.
I should
I think 23.
Yeah, I think 23. I'm not sure.
First, was he in the van when he came to your house?
No,
What was he on?
he was on the Ducati Monster motorcycle.
Okay. And this was in mid,
Buddy had a
Yes.
Ducati Monster.
did he tell you why he wasn't in the van?
No.
Did he tell you where the van was?
I asked him 2 different times, and he told me 2 different answers. One was New Haven, and the other is at a garage of somebody, I believe, named Kurt.
Someone named Kurt? Okay. Were either of those locations that he gave you his friend's house in St. Albans?
No.
What did you observe about him when he arrived?
He was shaking. I interpreted that as he was cold because he had just driven from Vermont on his motorcycle.
Based on those observations, what did you say to him?
I suggested he take a shower, and then we would talk more about Emily.
Okay. And before he took a shower, did he give you anything?
He gave me Emily's driver's license.
How did that happen?
He had put his hand in his pocket and pulled it out and seemed surprised that it was there and handed it to me. And I believe I asked him why he had it. And he said that they had gone to buy alcohol and Emily gave it to him just in case they needed to see it.
I'm going to show you what's marked as states 2. Okay. Recognize this?
Yes.
Tell the jury what this is.
That is my daughter Emily's most recent driver's license.
Is this the driver's license that there's a lot of the-
Yes.
I have no objection, but I am having a little trouble hearing.
Okay. States 2 is admitted without objection. Bring it up. And just do your best to keep that voice up. And Ms. Jantz, if you have continued, let us know so
Thank you.
we make sure you can hear.
Jurors are also having.
Obviously, the jurors, you can raise a hand if you're unable to hear in the back as well, because we want to make sure everybody hears all of the testimony.
When Mr. Ferlazzo was at your house, had the police been contacted at all about Emily?
Objection. Unless she's going to testify that he told her one way or the other whether they had been contacted, I don't know how she would know. And it's a leading question.
We'll sustain it as asked. Sustain the objection.
Were you aware of whether the police had been called?
Same objection.
Foundationally, we'll sustain the objection.
Did Joseph tell you that he called the police?
He did not.
And did you call the police?
My husband, David Bass, called the police with me.
And what police agency did you call?
I believe we spoke to both the New Hampshire State Police and the Vermont State Police.
And did the Vermont State Police ultimately speak to Mr. Ferlazzo?
Say what you will, but at least his defense lawyer is trying.
He's trying.
It's not like the Quinton Nixon case. Was that the one? No, the guy. What's the guy who admitted it at the start of the trial? He was just sitting there saying, "Please don't find him guilty." That's his job. Again, we might not like the defendant, but they're doing what they're being paid for, and she's probably a public defendant too.
And was he at your house when that occurred?
Yes.
How long did Mr. Ferlazzo stay at your residence?
Until about 8 o'clock.
How long after speaking to the police did he leave your residence?
It wasn't very long.
What did he do while he was at your residence?
He took a shower. He ate the dinner that David had made for us. He spoke to the police. He changed his clothes. Spoke to us, answered the questions that we asked him.
Do you recall what dinner he ate?
It was some sort of pasta and sauce.
And when he ultimately left, after speaking to the police, did he say why he was leaving?
Yes.
Why did he say he was leaving?
He said that he had work to do in Vermont. He had tattoos to finish.
Before he left, did he agree to anything related to his phone?
I believe my husband, David Bass, was able to get him to share his location. They shared their locations with each other. My intention was to help make sure that the sentiment was to make sure he got to where he was going safely.
And that was in Vermont.
Yes.
Did he leave on the same motorcycle that he arrived on?
No.
What did he leave with?
The red Jeep Wrangler.
And that was his Jeep?
Yes,
And it was at your house?
it was.
And how long had that Jeep been at your residence?
Less than a month.
Do you know whether he owned any other motor vehicles? Any vehicles, not motorcycles?
He owned the converted bus.
And I think, forgive me if you already answered this, do you recall what time he left your residence on Monday?
It was around 8 p.m.
And did you ever see Mr. Ferlazzo again after that?
No.
And did you ever hear from him again after that?
No.
Did you ever see Emily with a firearm?
No.
Did you?
Judge, these are leading questions. Did you ever see her with a firearm? Is a yes or no leading question.
There are certain, I'll overrule you.
Thank you.
To your knowledge, did she own one?
No.
Those are all the questions I have.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Jantz, do you have cross?
Thank you.
Good morning.
And I understand and appreciate how difficult this is for you.
Thank you.
It's obvious to all of us how.
Maybe if you couldn't hear anyone else, you use the microphone.
Yeah.
Are you being can't hear me. Okay. I just was telling Ms. Bass that I appreciate how hard this is for her to appear today.
Use the microphone.
Prior to their, so I think you said you met Joseph once before she and Emily got married. Is that right?
Yes.
And I think you said that your impression was he was quiet. Is that right?
I don't remember if that's what I said.
You didn't dislike him, did you?
No, not at that point.
You liked him, didn't you?
I didn't know him at that point.
But you knew Emily liked him, right?
Yes.
And I think you said if she liked him, then you were willing to go along with that. Is that
Correct.
about right?
Yes.
So you had, prior to their marriage, you were not, you thought they were happy together. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Did there come a point when you thought that they were having trouble as a couple?
Yes.
When was that?
The New Year's Eve, 2021.
New Year's Eve 2021.
Yes.
I'm talking about before Emily's death, which was October 2021.
Sorry, October
2020.
Yes, 2020.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying me.
What did you see or observe that led you to the conclusion?
Oh, so this happened in 2021.
So it was a phone call from Emily near midnight stating that she had been in a fight with him and that he had pushed her and she was crying. And then later she went into a room to be by herself away from him. And
So she told you?
yes.
Okay.
And
In this same phone conversation?
yes.
Go ahead.
And then she recorded herself in that separate room with him on the other side talking to her.
Were they arguing?
She wasn't saying anything to him, but he seemed to be upset that she was in a separate room from him.
What did you hear that led you to that conclusion?
I don't remember exactly what was said.
And after that, were there periods of time when Emily was considering divorce?
Yes.
But as far as you know, that happened more than once that she talked about divorce, right?
Yes.
But they always reconciled. Is that right? as well?
Yes.
And you said that Ms. Joseph gave you Emily's driver's license in connection with the purchase of alcohol. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
You guys hear me? They drank alcohol together, didn't they?
I believe so.
Vodka and wine. Is that your recollection?
I'm aware of the vodka. I'm not sure about the wine or any other specific types of alcohol.
And this was when they were living in your house, correct?
This is in Vermont. Beautiful, beautiful state up on the northeastern part of America. The foliage changing colors is something special. You should go there. It's an amazing place. Apparently, a lot of rich people there, high taxes. They're voting for Bernie Sanders. That's what I know about Vermont. Oh, and Six Hexenhammer lives up there too.
I
if
have
he's
heard
not in.
Vermont's beautiful. I've never been though.
I've heard that too, but I heard a lot of the hippies moved up there in the 70s and kind of made it a crazy place because they made so many stupid rules.
Maybe. Foliage. He used a big word that was funny. All the foliage.
Bernie Sanders is a far left-wing American politician who, whenever he tries to run for office, becomes a Democrat, and then he's an independent when he's elected.
Yes.
Do you know of any other times?
There's a meme of him. A very
Do you know?
popular
Yeah, from
meme.
the
Yes.
inauguration when he was sleeping.
That night, the New Year's Eve night.
When he's got his
They
legs crossed and
told
his
me-
mask on, and he looks mad.
Emily told me that she'd had some vodka.
Vodka?
From one where he's just.
Was it your impression? When
Yeah.
they were in the house,
Omitted.
I didn't see them drink a
It's
lot
my
at all.
favorite.
At all? Okay. So how do you know that they drank vodka while they were living in your house if you didn't see them drinking?
I didn't see them drinking excessively.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Okay. Um, So, prior to the day that they left your house to come to Vermont, you testified on direct examination that Emily was upset that it was taking so long, the camper to be ready. Is that right?
Yes.
What did you see her say or do that led you to that conclusion?
She seemed, how to describe it? Not necessarily frustrated, but confused as to why it was taking so long for him to get the bus ready. She said she thought it was ready, but he kept doing different things in the bus and wasn't ready to go.
Okay, so you just said she seemed confused and frustrated. How did she express that? For
She
example,
told me,
She
she
told-
said that she doesn't know why the bus isn't ready yet. I thought we were going to go at this time, and he's still doing things.
was she?
Listen,
was-
men never get things ready on time when we got to go on vacation.
No, it depends on the mood.
A mood?
It's
That's
because
how it
you
works.
women, oh, we don't have heating in there. No, we're going to put on a blanket and sleep close together. But I really like to be warm when I sleep. Okay, I'm going to put a heater in there. Oh, you only brought
Every
2 pillows.
every year when we used to do a family vacation, my dad would have like almost 2 weeks off of work and be trying to get everything ready for the day we leave. And I will tell you, every time that morning we're trying to get ready to leave, he was still tinkering. And we used to get in some fights because I'd be like, what are you doing? We have to leave. I will cancel this vacation. Like, okay, well,
No, I don't think I've seen no mention of drugs anywhere.
Yeah, what's going on? Is she tired?
I'm sorry.
If she's tired,
She would be more easily frustrated.
sure.
I think that's normal.
Yeah.
Other than the phone call you've described to us where of New Year's Eve, did you ever see Emily and Joseph arguing?
When he or Emily were driving me places, when she was driving, he would do things like grab the steering wheel on her, change the station, poke at her body.
Exactly, Tabby. We have it in our plan. We have to figure world peace out, how to make our football team win, and how was the sanitation with the shared toilets in the Roman Empire. When we have figured out those things, we'll get right at it.
yes, us women need to just back off and let them do it. It'll get done in a couple years.
Yeah, who needs
That's fine.
walls?
Or you just say, well, I'll do it myself then. And then usually that will get their butt in gear. But
Yeah, that's
can't guarantee.
because most women can't put a stick in a dog turd without ruining both of them.
Oh, I'll vouch for that because I said, fine, I'll fix my shower myself. And I got a steak knife out. And they were like, no, no, no. You're not going to cut the wall with a steak knife. Well, it worked.
Yeah,
I'm a genius.
best way to handle that problem.
So I'm going to use a word. He was like heckling. Is that right? Something to that effect, or is that too benign a word to describe what his actions were? Heckling.
I can say when observing that situation, I was very concerned about our safety.
Okay. How did Emily react?
She was telling him to stop.
Okay. Was he laughing, or did he, for example, do you think it was a joke?
I don't remember hearing him laughing.
Did you ever observe any marks on her
Let's
body?
find the right door handle.
Yes.
I have to match the rest of the house.
Did you ever ask her how she got those marks?
Yes.
What did she tell you?
The gouges down her chest, she said that she acquired them from their dog. The the handprint bruise on the back of her arm, she would not tell me where it came from. And then there are many bruises on her thighs. She's said that they came from rough sex.
Rough sex.
Oh my.
Did she ever tell you that Joseph had physically abused her, other than the phone call on New Year's Eve that you told us about?
I don't recall.
So you don't recall, or she never did?
I don't recall.
You'd remember though, wouldn't you?
I would think so,
Yeah. So remember the New Year's Eve call.
because it was New Year's Eve and it was a big deal.
It was a big deal. And she's your daughter. So you would remember if she'd ever told you about any other instance. May I have a moment? I don't have anything else, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. George,
I don't have anything else.
thanks so much.
A little over a year, Borough.
Relative to the cause now, consideration shall be the whole truth, not the truth, but the account be heard.
Good morning. Can you state your name and spell both your first and your last name?
My name is Kaylee Caderet. My first name is Kaylie. My last name is Cadorette.
Ms. Caderet, before we get started, I just want to ask you to please keep your voice up because the jurors are having some difficulty hearing us
Okay.
today. Thank you. Ms. Caderet, what town do you live in?
I live in Brattleboro.
How long have you lived there?
A little over a year.
Where did you live before that?
St. Albans.
Where were you living in October of 2021?
St. Albans.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a police officer.
How long have you been a police officer?
About 6 years now.
What police agency do you work for?
I work for Wilmington Police Department. Wilmington Police Department.
Have you worked for other police agencies?
Yes, I have.
And what other agencies?
I worked for St. Albans before Wilmington.
And were you working as a St. Albans police officer in October of 2021?
Yes, I was.
Where did you grow up?
St. Albans.
Do you know people by the name of Sarah and Jason Lang?
Yes, I do.
How do you know them?
They are the mother and stepfather of one of my best friends from childhood,
And who is that?
Alex Giroux.
Where do the Langs live?
They live on Meadowbrook Lane in St. Albans.
Have you been to their home?
Yes.
Do you recall being at the Langs' home in St. Albans on October 19th of 2021?
Yes.
Do you recall what day of the week that was?
It was a Sunday.
Why were you at the Langs' home?
I was there just to spend time with Alex and his parents.
Do you remember what time you arrived?
I think I arrived around 7 p.m.
And when you arrived, who was there?
Alex was there, Sarah was there, and Jason was there.
At some point during the evening, did somebody else arrive?
Yes.
And who was that person?
Joseph Ferlazzo.
Did you know Joseph Ferlazzo at the time?
At the time, no.
Had you met him before?
I found out later that I had met him briefly before.
Was he alone?
Yes.
Do you see the person who you saw that evening in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you point to that person and describe where they are sitting and an article of clothing that they're wearing?
He's in the middle seat at that table and he's wearing a blue shirt.
Your Honor, if the record can reflect that the witnesses identify the defendant.
So reflected.
Did you spend the evening at the Langs house in St. Albans?
Yes.
What did you do?
We sat around the fire and visited and drank a couple beers.
Where is the fire located at the Langs home?
Directly behind their house in their backyard.
Who was hanging out at the fire?
Myself, Alex, Sarah, Jason, and Joseph.
Did you see Mr. Ferlazzo's van parked on the property?
Yes.
Where was it parked?
It was next to the driveway, a little bit back. You could see it from where we were sitting at the fire.
How far away was it from where you were sitting by the fire?
Maybe 30 feet.
Now, you said that you had you had some beers at the fire. Who were you drinking?
Yes.
How much did you drink?
I think I had 3 beers.
Was Alex drinking?
Yes.
Do you know how much he was drinking?
I don't know.
What about Jason?
Yes.
And Sarah?
Yeah.
Was Mr. Ferlazzo drinking?
Not that I recall.
Was anybody using drugs?
Yes.
Who was using drugs?
Joseph.
Do you know what drugs he was using?
It appeared to be marijuana.
And
I had a brother that I didn't talk to for almost 20 years because he had a wife that. I like my family. I grew up with a dad and an uncle that never talked to each other, so I tried to. Well, not. Well, I don't know. We show up at weddings and funerals at least.
why did you think that?
He was smoking out of a bong.
Yeah, it's just culture.
How do you know what a
thing, I'm
bong
sure.
is?
Life experience and law enforcement experience.
Do you recall how much he was smoking or how often he was smoking?
I recall that he was, as I'd recall somebody sitting across from me drinking, but I don't know how much.
Did Mr. Ferlazzo appear high or under the influence to you?
No.
So
Can you describe Mr. Ferlazzo's
Sure.
demeanor during the evening?
He was very relaxed, casually engaged in conversation.
How long were you hanging out with him by the fire?
I think it was about 4 hours.
During that 4-hour period of time, were you talking with him?
Yes.
What were you talking about?
We talked about our jobs. We talked about the camper that he was renovating. He said that he was going to live out of it. Just small talk.
And while you were talking, you mentioned, did he tell you what he did for a living?
Yes, he said he was a tattoo artist.
And when he told you that he was a tattoo artist, did you recognize him at that point?
Yes.
And tell us about that.
A friend of mine had gotten a tattoo from him years before.
And was that when you made the connection of that you had previously met him?
Yes.
Did you tell Mr. Ferlazzo that you were in law enforcement?
Yes.
How did he react to that?
He continued to engage me in conversation very steadily for the rest of the night.
Around what time did the evening end?
I think around midnight.
And how did it end?
Myself, Alex, Sarah, and Jason went into their house, and Joseph went off in the direction of his camper.
As you were retiring for the night, did Mr. Ferlazzo say anything to you?
Yes.
What did he say?
A comment was made where he related something to Emily. He said, "Oh, Emily likes that." And I said to my friend Alex, "Oh, I didn't know that he had a wife."
Oh, she was.
Had he not
Him.
spoken about a person named Emily in the 4 hours before?
No.
Did he tell you that he was married?
No.
Did he tell you?
To be fair, if I was at a bonfire with people I didn't know and just sitting there enjoying myself, the first thing I would bring wouldn't be, is what I'm trying to say. Hey, I'm Joseph and I'm married. It'll be, hey, how you doing? Cool. Yeah, I'm just enjoying my water filtered air over here. Cool. I'll sleep in a van.
Oh my gosh.
It's the court reporter.
Yeah,
Never.
it's not me
pal.
this time.
Never.
You that his wife had walked off on Saturday and he hadn't heard from her?
No.
Did he tell you that he had been texting his wife's phone and she hadn't been responding?
No.
Yeah, let's get more no questions because it makes sense.
I don't have any other questions, Your Honor.
Any crossings, John?
Good morning.
Checking to see if it's still morning. So you just testified that you
I don't know.
initially
I
thought
think
you
in
had never met
Vermont, it's
Joseph before,
pretty
correct?
liberal.
Had you actually met him when your friend had the tattoo previously?
I was with her when she had her
But
tattoo.
you had no memory of that at the time?
No, it was years before.
Okay. So
Also, he's one of those old creeps who hangs out with the way younger people.
You
I
know
don't
what?
like those.
I think you testified.
20 years younger, and all these people were much younger too.
Yeah, he got married to a 22, 23-year-old. And this one, he tattooed her friend years before.
That
you want to marry somebody
you
that
were-
young? You
you
just date
yourself
them
and,
for.
That's what I say every time people are sitting there thinking, oh my, look at that. She's thinking, you can't keep it those 23 seconds once a month, but you have to listen to all her, oh, and my friends on Instagram, and I was on the TikToks, and for the rest of the month, 23 seconds isn't worth listening to all of that yammer.
I'm in my 40s, and if I had to, I see my own nieces, they're getting there up to their 20s, and it's like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what's going on half the time.
Yeah. And imagine having that in your house. Yeah.
And
Nothing in
what's his
common.
name? Well, Jason and Sarah Lane and their son, your best friend, were sitting around first.
Because I don't like most guys my age count. Well, I was getting ready for it. I was mentally preparing myself for it. I was eating breakfast to pregame. I had lunch to pregame. I had dinner to pregame. I don't count all of that. It sounds more impressive when you add all of that up and says, "Well, I can go for hours," but in reality,
Around the bonfire, and at some point, Mr. Ferlazzo came and sat down. Is that
Correct.
correct? So it wasn't a situation where it was just you and Mr. Ferlazzo having, the two of you having a conversation. It was sort of a group bonfire.
Correct.
Do you recall giving a deposition on June 13th, 2023?
Yes.
Approximately, yeah. So you stated in your deposition that the conversation was very small talk type. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
I think that you also mentioned that Mr. Palazzo's dog was around, and so there was some playing with the dog as
I
well?
believe so.
Okay. Then at some point he left, and you folks remained in the Lang's house, correct?
Correct.
All right. So I think that you had mentioned that and do you recall giving an interview with Detective Truex?
Yes.
And I believe also in the deposition, you stated that he seemed normal, and you had also mentioned that he hadn't mentioned his wife, but yet you were talking about small talk things.
Yes.
So having not really interacted with Mr. Ferlazzo previously, you wouldn't really necessarily have a baseline or no way of knowing how Mr. Ferlazzo behaves typically in various situations. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Okay. So his normal behavior or abnormal behavior, there's nothing to compare it to.
He was calm.
Okay. All right. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any redirect?
No redirect, thank you.
Thank you.
we're moving quite fast. That's nice. I still can't see how it can take 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Good morning, Trooper.
Morning.
Can you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Yes, it's Keith Cody, and my last name is spelled C-O-T-E.
Okay, and how are you employed?
Trooper with Vermont State Police
And how long have you worked for the Vermont State Police?
since April of 2021,
Okay, how long have you been in law enforcement?
since November of 2012
Okay, and where did you work prior to becoming a trooper?
in the St. Albans Police Department.
And aside from general training that all sort of certified law enforcement officers receive, do you have any specialized training in law enforcement?
Sure. So I've attended a desert snow drug interdiction course taught by Nebraska State Police. I've attended a street crime seminar working on identifying and interdicting drugs coming from homes. I'm a member of the search and rescue team for the Vermont State Police. We look for lost and missing hikers throughout the state and rural parts of the state. I'm a team leader of our critical action team. When I guess lawful protests turn criminal, we're called upon to help defuse the situation. I've attended some trainings with the National Tactical Officers Association pertaining to that team.
Okay, great. Were you involved in the case related to Emily Ferlazzo?
I was.
Okay, and can you tell the jury how you initially became involved in that investigation?
Sure. So on October 18th, 2021, I received a phone call from a family member of Emily who had concerns about her welfare as she hadn't contacted them for a couple of days. She'd had no social media activity. She hadn't contacted any of her close friends, and this was out of the ordinary for her. This behavior was not normal.
Okay, and
You don't need to go back. I can give you the full rundown. A poor man was sleeping in a van with his girlfriend. She got pissy, as women does sometimes. Hit him with a candle. He tried to defuse the situation, go out, take the dog for a walk. He came back. She pulled a pew pew. Luckily, he had his pew pew in his hand already, so he just aerated her a couple of times just to make her calm down. Then he stabulated her. Was it 18 times?
But well, I mean, like he hacked her up, so
Well, no, but
does
he
that count?
stabulated her. He stabulated her chest and her abdomen and stuff like that.
Oh,
Again,
I thought that was during the whole dismemberment thing. So
well, they said she was stabulated. It wasn't cutting; it was stabbing. But again, it was just to calm her down because women, And
that's what you do.
and then he was stopped a couple of days later with the body hacked up in the back of his van, and now the state is claiming that it's his fault. She hit him with a can.
Can you say again who had contacted you?
Yes, it was
Oh yeah, and he
Emily's
hit.
stepfather,
He hit
David
him
Bass.
in the front
Okay.
jewel.
And where were they located?
They were in New Hampshire at their residence.
Okay. And did they have any other information about what might have happened to her?
David Blair, he was just checking to make sure everything was safe and nothing was going on. Just, you come in to a room, you just check the corners and make sure, okay, put it under the pillow and go to bed.
Did they provide you any other?
Sure. So prior to David calling, Emily's husband, Joseph, had returned
They're
home.
expensive and deadly.
Jamie, what's a Yankee Candle? I thought
It's
it
a
was.
brand.
Oh, I thought it was some derogatory term
No.
for special.
It's a brand of candle and it's very expensive, but they have some really cool like smells. So
I thought it was something that that people down south
Us
said about
Yanks.
them Yankee
Yeah.
candles. But
Oh my God.
I didn't want to ask a stupid question. So I just thought, okay,
He
that
thought it was a slur to us Yanks.
yeah. Well, I'm not allowed to call the White Rabbit a Yank.
That's funny.
Jamie, you're
Oh my-
mocking me. I might be finding a candle right now.
Oh, that is funny. Whew.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
I returned to New Hampshire on the date that they called, stating that Emily they had gone their separate ways, I believe on Saturday, the 16th. Emily had told Joseph that she was going to get an Uber taxi back to New Hampshire, yet she never showed up as to when Joseph got there. And their plan was to meet in New Hampshire on Monday.
Okay. So what was your understanding of where Joseph was when Mr. Bass called the state police?
At their residence in New Hampshire.
As I gathered it, plastic bags, because he didn't want to make a mess. And again, when you have to self-defend yourself out of a situation like this, the van can be a home after. So it's smart thinking.
Okay. And at some point then, did you speak with Mr. Ferlazzo?
Yes, I did.
When did you speak with him?
So Mr. Bass gave me Joseph's phone number. So when I hung up with David, I called the phone number. David answered Joseph's phone. And I said, "Oh, this is Trooper Cody again. Can you put me on the phone with Joseph?" So it was moments after I finished my phone call with David.
Okay. And was that conversation with Mr. Ferlazzo recorded?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And how was that recorded?
Through my, so the phone was over my cell phone and I recorded it on my department issued body camera.
Okay. And did you identify the person that you were speaking with as Joseph Ferlazzo?
Yeah, so Mr. Bass answered the phone. This is Joseph's phone. I said, "Can I please speak to Joseph?" He then handed the phone to Joseph. And I said, "Hello, Joseph. This is Trooper Cody of the State Police." We began our conversation.
Okay. And approximately how long did you speak with him?
9 minutes and 20 seconds approximately.
Okay. And how did he sound while you were speaking with him?
Calm, perhaps a bit unconcerned about Emily's whereabouts.
Okay. So we're going to listen to the recording, but in summary, sort of what did Joseph tell you about Emily's whereabouts?
Sure.
Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, Lori, what's her name? Daybell Wallow, has been granted right to be pro se. So that's going to be an interesting March, April case.
So Emily and Joseph had put together a makeshift camper RV that they were traveling in, that they could live in. And they traveled for the weekend to Bolton to visit a family member of his. At some point during their stay in Bolton, Emily asked to get out of the camper and in Bolton, and Joseph went to the store to get her a Coca-Cola, so he told me. When he returned, Emily was gone. He told me he drove up and down Route 2, up and down the Bolton Valley Access Road, and was unable to find her. And again, that she had told him she wanted to be on her own, and she was going to take an Uber back to New Hampshire.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, sure. And at some point, Mr. Ferlazzo told me that the camper had transmission issues and it had broken down, so he had it towed to a mechanics shop in New Haven, Vermont, somewhere on Route 7. He couldn't recall the name, but it was just, he described it just being over the railroad tracks in New Haven. Following that, he got a ride to a friend's house in St. Albans, where he then took his motorcycle from St. Albans to Emily's parents' house in New Hampshire.
So I'm going to, have you previously seen what the state marked as States 3, your Axon video of
Yes, I have.
conversation?
Yep.
And have you reviewed that before today's testimony?
Yes, I did.
And is it a fair and accurate depiction of the conversation you had with him on that day?
Yes.
Okay. Judge, the state would move to admit States 3.
States 3 is admitted without objection.
Okay, we can't see it.
It's just the sound.
It's just the sound? Then that's fine.
There's just some questions about being able to see it, but before we start it, is there anything visually that is important for this video?
No.
Okay, it's just your body camera with your phone, correct?
Yeah, my body camera's, I was sitting in my cruiser. My body camera's mounted on the center of my chest here. And I had my cell phone on speakerphone, just holding it like this. So all you see is the steering wheel, and you might hear some radio conversation from my cruiser.
Okay, the state's gonna play it.
Oh, gosh, this is Trooper Cody State Police looking for Joseph. Okay, thanks.
I believe this is for her fourth husband. She is already convicted for her 2 kids.
Yeah, it's the ex-husband.
Yeah, but she have had 6 husbands in total, and I believe this is number 4 that she unalived.
Yeah.
Hey, Joseph, this is Trooper Cody from Vermont State Police. Hey, so I just got off the phone with your father-in-law, and sounds like there's some concern about maybe where Emily may be. Okay, what can you? It sounds like you. What do we know at this point? I guess. Or what can you tell me?
She was with me, and she said she was going to get an Uber, so she asked me to drop her off to the parking lot, and I dropped her off. She was wearing like white sneakers and like ripped blue jeans and like a black top that's like long sleeves and like a lightweight. And yeah, I went to the gas station, grabbed her coat, and I went back. She already got picked up. I'm looking for her. I couldn't find her, and then I haven't been able to make contact with her since that was like Saturday afternoon.
So where did you drop her off? Whereabouts? Or what? Like up
There's a parking lot at like the base of the hill.
Okay. Yeah, there's so like the road that goes up to the ski resort.
Right. Yes.
So that little parking lot right at the base of that hill you're saying?
Yes.
Like almost right in the corner of the main road there, Route 2?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was Saturday in the afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went to the gas station, the one, what, just down the street there?
Yeah, I went down the street, got some gas, and grabbed a Coke, and then she wanted any kind of soda. Yeah, I went to go get her drink, and she was gone. So I don't know who picked her up. She didn't tell me, and my folks said that she's not with friends.
Okay. So after you just noticed she was gone, you just decided to just leave, I guess?
I drove up and down the road looking to see if she like started down the road, and I drove up and down to both ways. I didn't see her walking.
Okay, so you figured that Uber or something, sure.
Yeah, she said she was getting over.
Okay. And was she had her cell phone with her at that time?
Yes.
And like her purse or wallet or something with some money?
Yeah, she had like a wallet with cards in it.
Okay. And about what time was this? Did you drop her off, would you say?
Maybe like a little afternoon, like 12:30. Like 12:03.
Okay.
Somewhere on there.
Okay. And then, so I understand you're an Emily's van. You guys were traveling in like a camper van?
Yes.
Okay. But you, like, it broke down somewhere, you said?
Yeah, the tree smoked, so the van's in Vermont, and I came back to New Hampshire to see if she was here, but she was
Okay. Where did your van break down?
Well, it didn't break down, it smoked, and then I brought it to the shop. It's supposed to get an inspection. The inspection was, the inspection was supposed to be done in July, so.
Okay.
He's gonna take a look at the training and get it inspected.
Okay, what shop is that?
I don't know the actual name of it. It's in New Haven.
It's in New Haven.
Yeah, like right over the railroad tracks.
Oh, yeah, okay. Right on the main of the railroad, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you kind of ride somehow to your motorcycle?
Yes.
Okay, where'd you get your motorcycle?
My motorbike was at my friend's house. In St. Albans.
In St. Albans, okay. And other than who Emily's parents have mentioned, you can't think of anybody in the Bolton area that maybe Emily. Did you guys have relatives in Bolton? Or is Emily?
No, my sister and her boyfriend came up and stayed in an Airbnb, and we just went and spent some time with them.
Okay.
And she super violent and told him, let her out, and I tried to grab her by the arm and tried to pull her back in, so he won't do it to me. She just, she kicked me in the groin and punched me, and I was like, okay, take a couple minutes, and then by the time I came back, she just missed me,
What sparked her to get so upset?
I was like, you just need some food. You need some coffee and some food, and she was just like, no, fuck you, and she just started swinging and kicking.
Okay, and was the Airbnb here in Bolton?
That was at the top of the resort there.
Okay, all right. Okay, who's your friend up in St. Albans?
My friend Sarah Lang.
Sarah Lang, okay. Do you have a phone number for Sarah? Does Emily know Sarah? I mean, have you checked in with Sarah?
Yeah, I saw Sarah. She hasn't seen her. I saw Sarah, and I was like, okay, I don't know where the hell Emily is, so maybe we'd like to go to her folks' place, because we were supposed to come back here on Monday. Today's Monday. She's not here.
Okay. Would there be any reason why Emily would go back to your sisters and maybe your sister wouldn't tell you that Emily was there?
No, my sister just messaged me. She was checking on me.
Okay.
Yes, that was okay. I told her that I'm pretty crappy, but.
When Emily jumped out of the van, did she have her cell phone in there?
Yeah.
You're positive on that?
Yeah, I don't have it.
No, I didn't know if she left it in the van or. No. Okay. All right. Well, I will. I'm gonna ask more questions. I'll probably call you back here if I see if I can try to come up with something here. Maybe we try to find out where she is, or if she's just trying to, ignore. That's fine. But I'd like to at least figure that out. So, if you think there's anybody that I should try calling, just let me know. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Bye.
She kicked him in the groin.
Oh, Lord.
On the video, you can see
Don't
your
know.
phone, as you stated. Is that the phone number 802-355-8485? Is that the number you reached Mr. Ferlazzo on?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And were you ultimately able to speak to the friend he said that he went to see in St. Albans, Sarah Lang?
Yes.
Okay. And when did you speak with her?
I spoke with her. I found a number for her moments after speaking with Joseph.
Okay. And based on that conversation, did you ask a St. Albans police officer to go to her residence?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall where her residence was?
14 Meadowbrook Drive in St. Albans.
Okay. And what did you ask that officer to do?
I asked the officer to drive by the residence and see if the camper RV, the camper van was there.
Okay. And was it?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So it was not in a garage in New Haven?
Correct.
So what did you do next after determining that it was in this residence in St. Albans?
So we, few troopers went up to St. Albans and we observed the camper van there.
Okay. And do you recall approximately what time you arrived at the residence in St. Albans?
It was after midnight, but I don't recall the exact time.
Okay. And again, did you observe a van matching the description of what you'd been told by Mr. Ferlazzo?
Yes, I did.
And where was it located?
On the west side, it was parked in the grass on the west side of the residence.
Okay. Who was with the van when you arrived?
As far as
Law enforcement.
I believe, I know Senior Sergeant Joe Paquette was involved. Trooper Adam Lippo was involved. I can't recall any other.
Okay.
Top of my head, yeah.
Did you personally close up the van with evidence tape?
Yes, I did.
And what was the purpose of that? Why did you do that?
To secure the inside of it, to make sure that nobody entered any of the access points to the van.
Why'd you do that?
It was seized as evidence.
Okay. So you had concerns there might be evidence of a crime in the van?
That's correct.
Okay. And did you supervise the removal of the van from the scene?
Yes, I did.
Did you observe the tow truck actually come and remove the van?
Yes, I did.
And where did the tow truck take it?
Directly from 14 Meadowbrook to the St. Albans State Police Barracks.
Okay. And approximately how far is 14 Meadowbrook from the St. Albans Police Barracks?
2 miles?
Did you ever lose sight of the van at any point during that trip?
No, I did not.
Did you also observe the Jeep, the red Jeep, or a red Jeep coming to the barracks secured area?
Excuse me. Yes, I observed the red Jeep once it arrived at the barracks.
Okay. What did you secure it?
Yes, so the Jeep the van was too big to put into our indoor sally port. So we put the Jeep inside of the secure sally port in the barracks, and then I placed evidence tape on all the access points to the Jeep as well.
His RV park nickname was Vincent Van Joe.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions, Judge.
Can you get your cricket?
Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trooper.
You gonna ask me for my cricket?
Yeah, with jokes like this, yes.
Well, you're gonna have to have an artificial cricket because it's snowing out now. My windows are not open anymore. Crickets are dead.
It looks like we're going
They're
a little
all
quicker
dead.
than we had anticipated, so that's the good news. And so we'll take our lunch break now till 1 o'clock. We'll try and start promptly at 1. Thank you.
Promptly at 1, Jamie, so no dilly-dally.
One thing to
Well-
remind you, again, no discussion about this case over the lunch. Don't try and find out anything about the lunch, about the case while you're at lunch. And other than that, enjoy your lunch.
That's a long lunch.
Yeah, it's an hour and 30 minutes. Well, no, it's an hour and 10 minutes. We're a
Well,
little
are
bit
you-
behind.
Okay. I guess that's not that bad then.
We're talking about the rest of the day.
All right, why don't we talk about the rest of the day?
Talk
The
about
lead detective and
Still with lay witnesses.
We have one more lay witness,
Okay, and who is that?
Spencer Lemons.
So, and who are the two troopers?
Adam Lippa and James Voorhees.
Okay, so we will be able to fill the afternoon.
Well, that's what we wanted to talk with you about, Judge. Detective Voris is, as the court knows, the one who is the lead detective and the one who's interviewed Mr. Ferlazzo. My preference is to have his testimony in one day, and that won't be possible today. We can start him and finish him on Monday, but my preference would be for us to do him in all on Monday.
He's probably your longest witness.
Yes.
Or at least one of them.
Second longest.
But
You're otherwise probably, given what I just heard, talking about wrapping up at 2:00, maybe before then.
well, Spencer limits will be half an hour at least.
I
No,
slept
that's why I
4 hours
said 2
last night, so
Like a 911
please.
call.
please.
I recognize that it's cutting today short, but as the court pointed out, we're way ahead of schedule. I hadn't planned on starting Detective Voris's cross-examination today. I know we can do the direct.
Yeah, we won't do I don't see how we can, why don't you approach for a moment?
I wouldn't mind an early day today because.
No.
Oh, and by the way, Monday, if they go long Monday, I will end it. We're probably going to be behind with the lunch because I have Alles nur geklaut on for one of those Christmas streams. So we'll catch up, and because he's here at 3, so if they go to lunch and start like 1:30 or something, I won't come back and do like half an hour. But I'll have him on to do an interview at Monday 3 p.m. So just so you know, that's why we might get a little delayed here and there, because I'm starting my well, I don't know if it's my new good idea or bad idea or whatever idea it is, but I was. Where the heck is it? Did I lose it again? No, there it is.
Look at that cute background. Very
Yeah, I made
nice.
it Christmassy because I know you like Christmas.
I love Christmas.
But I'm starting next week. I will be having some special guests on because I didn't know there was a case starting. So I thought, what to do? And I thought 12 days of Christmas was 12 days leading into Christmas. It's not. We don't have it in Denmark, so I don't know nothing. But so far, I have Alles nur geklaut set for Monday, Massa Media for Tuesday, Publicly Bust Wednesday, Brandy on Thursday. Thursday we will also cover the Karen Reed case. So again, we'll be a little. We'll figure it out. But Brandy and I will then have a stream later in the day. Then I have Alexa's room. No time so far. Sunday I'll have Miss Shorty, and Monday I'll have alternate juror. Then I have a couple of holes in the plan, and then legal vices on Friday the 20th at 10 in the morning. So
Woohoo.
just something new I'm trying to do to kind of let all of you meet some new people, and maybe some of their viewers get to know all of you wonderful people in chat. So I hope you will be joining those special little streams. But Jamie, you know what time
Yes,
it
Baker.
is. It's time. It's time. It's Vader time.
It's Vader time.
You know Vader from WCW and WWF.
Yes, Baker.
You know, yeah. The thing I wanted to do is take some people we know, some people we don't know, because there's a lot of creators out there who gave me a lift when I was beginning. So I'm thinking maybe I can introduce some people to to new creators so they can get a little bit of a pump. But I have 3 more that have accepted, but we'll have to figure out how we can fit it in. And one of them is well known. Another one is, I think she have a couple of hundred subscribers, and it's from all over the spectrum. So it's
It's a really cool idea, though.
no, I'm not breaking up with you, but sometimes you get to that part in a relationship where you need to go out and have your appetite, and then you can go home to eat.
Hmm.
So that's how we do it. But we'll do our lunch now. We'll be back in 50 minutes and see where this takes us, see how this evil woman mistreated this poor man. Hit him with a candle, Jamie. A Yankee candle. And kicked him in El Boleros.
I mean, you had to start shooting.
You just sometimes some people need a little killing.
You just gotta start blasting. I mean, that's what happens.
Yeah. And she was asking for it.
Oh my God.
I can't wait for him to take the stand. It'll be great.
I know.
But it'll also be great if we see all of you back in roughly 50 minutes. If you don't already, go join the Discord so you can get notifications, because YouTube, toot sweet a-hole.
Mm-hmm. Join the Discord anyway, because it's fun.
Yes. There are movie nights, there are craft and chat, and the link to the Discord is right there in chat. So you can just join up while we're getting lunch. Jamie, see you in a bit.
See you.
Not as many bits as he saw her in the back of the van.
What exhibit are you referring to? I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor. All right. 100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
No.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.
So there.
Everybody has.